All right, welcome to the Antibiotic Matrix. In this briefing, we're going to get you locked and loaded for the boards, cracking the code on how to master antibiotic choices for sepsis. Let's dive right in.
Okay, I want you to picture this. Every bacterium is a fortress, and our job, our entire mission, is to figure out which siege weapons, which antibiotics are going to dismantle its #1 defense, that tough cell wall. We basically got 3 classes of weapons in our arsenal. First up, you've got your Beta-Lactams. Think of these as your special ops team, your saboteurs. They go right after the construction crew's tools. These things called penicillin binding proteins, or PBPs. They bind them up and bam! All new wall construction just grinds to a halt. Next, we bring in the heavy armor, the Glycopeptides. We're talking about the heavy chains, like Vancomycin. Now these don't mess with the tools. Oh no. They use brute force. They just physically get in the way, forming a blockade so the bricklayers can't add a single new brick to that wall.
And finally, for those really tough jobs, we have the membrane disruptors. This is your demolition crew. They don't even bother with the wall. They go straight for the foundation underneath it, the cell membrane itself, and just blow the whole thing wide open.
Now this is where the game really changes. This is a logic gate you absolutely have to understand for your exams. It's all about resistance. See, with MRSA, the bacteria has been clever. It's mutated its penicillin binding protein. It's like it changed the lock on the front door. So our standard Beta-Lactam key doesn't fit anymore. It's completely useless. You have to get these resistance shunts down cold.
Okay, just a quick but really important pause here. This content is designed strictly for educational purposes to help you prep for your medical exams. It is not, I repeat, not medical advice. For any clinical decisions, you should always be consulting official guidelines and specialists.
All right, theory's over. Let's put this into practice. Let's head to a real-world ICU scenario. Picture this. You've got a patient on a ventilator who suddenly develops pneumonia. And, to make things trickier, they have a history of chronic lung disease. The new intern on the team suggests, hey, let's just start some amoxicillin. So what do you think? Is that a safe first step? From a board exam perspective, what is the next best step here? No way. Not even close. That is a classic case of bringing a knife to a tank fight. Look, when you have a critically ill patient with ventilator-associated pneumonia, your mind has to immediately go to the big guns, the highly resistant bugs, especially Pseudomonas. Starting with a weak antibiotic is basically surrendering before the fight even begins.
So, here's the crucial algorithm you need burned into your brain. First, you assess the patient's risk. It's high? VAP. Second, you identify the likely enemy. Here, it's Pseudomonas. So, third, you bring out the heavy artillery. We're talking drugs like Pip-Tazo or Cefepime from the jump. And that leads to the #1 rule, not just for your exams, but for your patients. Never, ever undertreat a high-risk infection. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about one of the biggest, most common traps the boards will throw at you, MRSA coverage. So many people get tripped up on this, but once you master this distinction, you'll be way ahead of the curve.
You have got to memorize this. This is your MRSA blacklist. Listen closely. With one single exception, ceftaroline. No other cephalosporin is going to reliably cover MRSA. Not cefepime, not ceftriaxone. The exams love to trap you here, because you'll see broad-spectrum cephalosporin and think it covers everything. It doesn't.
And here's why it's so important. Remember that mutant lock we talked about? The standard Beta-Lactam key just doesn't fit MRSA's altered PBP2A lock. So your next step is crystal clear. You have to completely abandon that class of drugs and grab a different tool from the toolbox, something like Vancomycin, which uses a totally different mechanism to tear down that wall.
But of course, that leads us right into the next classic board question. So you made the right call. You started Vancomycin for that suspected MRSA. But now you're looking at the labs and you see the patient's creatinine is starting to climb. A big red flag for kidney injury. What's your next move? What's the shunt?
A lot of people's gut reaction is to jump to Daptomycin. I mean, it's a great choice for MRSA in many cases, but for pneumonia, that would be a huge mistake. And here's a super high-yield fact for your exam. You never use Daptomycin for pneumonia. Why? Because lung surfactant, that stuff that keeps our little air sacs open, it actually binds to Daptomycin and completely inactivates it. The drug never even gets a chance to work. It's a critical point to remember.
Okay, time to seal these logic gates. Let's lock in these core concepts with a quick fire review. You ready? Let's do this.
What is the target for Beta-Lactams? Come on, penicillin binding proteins. Right, And what's the mechanism of MRSA resistance to them? It's that altered PBB2A target. Perfect.
Which penicillin covers Pseudomonas? Pip-Tazo. Good. And which two cephalosporins are your go-to for Pseudomonas? Ceftazidime and Cefepime. You got it.
Okay, the traps. Can you use Daptomycin in the lungs? Never. It gets inactivated by surfactant. And what causes red man syndrome? A too rapid infusion of vancomycin, which triggers a massive histamine release. Awesome. You've got the key concepts down cold.
So, look, you've now secured the primary logic for breaking down bacterial cell walls. You've got the basics. But believe me, that's only the first line of defense in this war.
Because sometimes just breaking down the wall isn't going to cut it. When that bacterial fortress is just too strong, too thick, you have to stop attacking the outside and go inside to sabotage the factory itself, the machinery of protein synthesis.
And that is your next mission. To be truly ready for your boards, you have to master the protein synthesis inhibitors like macrolides and navigate the dangerous kidney-related side effects of aminoglycosides. Join us for our next briefing where we will cover exactly that.